beautiful hearts. So I am really excited to be sharing this video with you guys today. I've got some really exciting things to share with you towards the end of the video, and my main motivation for doing this video today is really to bring awareness to seasonal affective disorder. Now, my life story actually has involved healing many things, and one of the things that I've had to balance out is how I come into the seasons, because there had been a pattern throughout my whole life where I would come into autumn and I would have a real obvious drop in energy and a real obvious drop health-wise as well. With autumn and winter, symptoms start to really kick in, and we are actually, as I'm filming this in the UK, we're going into that autumn type of energy. Now, normally as we come into the back end of September, where we're at right now, I would be feeling already my energy is dropping, and for the first time ever I actually feel really good. The two previous winters I was starting to feel a lot better as we was going through the winter, so I am really taking this as a clear indication that I've actually managed to balance it out enough where it's not going to have a huge effect on me this year. I mean, obviously time will tell, but it's a really good indication. So as we go through this video, for those of you that maybe are affected by seasonal affective disorder, or just want a little bit more information about it, I will go through what it is and also share my personal journey as well and what's really helped me. So as we go into the seasons, so some it could be, although less common, where they have symptoms spring, summer, but generally it is autumn, winter. So your sleep patterns will change. For me, it was definitely where I was sleeping a lot more, and I was obviously thinking back to when I was very much affected by it. And 10 years ago, obviously I was going through a very difficult period in my life then also, but some days as we was going into the thick of winter, I could be sleeping from 18 to 22 hours a day, and that just sounds pretty amazing to me now that I was actually in that place where I just felt that I wasn't getting enough sleep. No matter how much sleep I was doing, no matter how long that sleep was, I just felt so tired. I literally felt like a zombie. I was just so tired all the time. So yeah, to be sleeping 18 to 22 hours, it's just extraordinary now I'm thinking back. What would happen, and like I said, up until even a few years ago, as we got into the afternoon, I would just start dying off and need to sleep and find it very hard to stay awake, and I would wake up and just feel totally tired and drained, and waking up to darkness and then it getting dark very early, it just really affected my energy. So our appetite and our mood can change as well every year around the same kind of time. So like I said, for me it was really going into the back end of September I would really start dropping health wise and energy wise. So it actually affects around 3 in 100 people in the UK. Most people start to get symptoms for the first time in their 20s or 30s, but children can be affected too. Now, I was affected from a very early age. I remember it was a continuous pattern where every winter my health would deteriorate. When I was very young, I had whooping cough, and I was very ill with that, and I was a toddler, so from a very early age there was this pattern where I would have colds, viruses each winter, chest infections, ear infections, catarrh, real build-up of phlegm on the chest, so real bad chest infections, bronchitis, used to get mucus running down the back of my throat, migraines, headaches, sinusitis, a real foggy, cloudy feeling around my head as well, where I just felt constantly like I just wasn't fully able to think clearly. There was just like that, like I said, this fog around my head. At school, many times I would find myself going to the school nurse in the afternoons because of this really bad headache, or just feeling so drained and tired. I did actually sometimes have a sleep up until the end of school time because my head was just banging. So yeah, it did disrupt my school a lot, especially the afternoon lessons. I found it really hard to try and keep myself awake and to concentrate on the lessons as well. So yeah, I would feel very tired, sleepy in the afternoons at school. Extra sensitive to sounds, to light, emotionally extra sensitive autumn, winter as well. Sometimes very tearful. Feelings of despair as well would come forward. I did pick up on the stress and tension from adults around that time of year as well as the year unfolded. Obviously, we've got going back to school, which can be very stressful on certain parents, you know, the financial strain of that, and also going into Christmas as well. But obviously I didn't fully understand that as a young child. Other symptoms related to seasonal affective disorder are feeling low, hopeless, helpless, worthless or guilty. You find it difficult to concentrate, like I mentioned in my own personal story. Low energy, feeling lethargic during the day, feeling indecisive most of the time, finding it difficult to get out of bed in the morning and to fully wake up, and that's definitely something that I found myself as well, and sleeping more than usual. Like I said about a certain spell in my life where I was sleeping quite extraordinary lengths of time. So you might find that you're actually eating more than usual, especially carbohydrates, or in some cases where you didn't feel hungry at all. And I know definitely for myself, it would be the case where I actually would lose weight in the winter, where a lot of other people would start piling on the weight. I actually lost weight as we went through the winter. I just found it very difficult to eat, and obviously sleeping that amount of time I was sleeping, so there wasn't space to eat as well. Loss of libido, feeling less sociable or feeling anxious in those particular seasons as well. Palpitations, so being aware of your own heartbeat. And another thing that was definitely part of my personal story was aches and pains, joint pains, and I was actually diagnosed with arthritis in my 20s. I would have issues with my joints a lot earlier than that. When I was 18, one day, almost out of the blue, and it actually was in the winter time, I went to reach for a light bulb. I mean, I did have injuries on my shoulders anyway, but I went to reach, not for the light bulb, sorry, for the light switch, and my shoulder popped out, and I did have a lot of issues with dislocations in my shoulders, especially one in particular. That has gone as well, and I'll go through that a little bit more later in the video about what I did to help the joint pain as well. So it can actually be confused with bipolar disorder, as the spring summer months can often bring on sometimes manic periods, or basically where there's a huge contrast to the autumn winter energy. So you feel super happy, super energetic and more sociable in the spring summer, and then obviously there's an apparent change energetically and personality wise as well as you are going into the autumn and winter. And I know definitely people in my life picked up on that, but there wasn't a diagnosis of seasonal affective disorder for me. I was misdiagnosed with bipolar at one point, and then that diagnosis was taken off me because it was very obvious that I wasn't bipolar. It was other issues going on at that time, but obviously it would have been diagnosed correctly if somebody had said I had seasonal affective disorder, because that's clearly something that I did have. Personally, I did feel like a very contrasted change going on for me as we went through the seasons, and I found it so much easier to live through the spring and the summer. So the first half of the year and the second half sort of really swallowed me whole with this low mood and feeling very flat energetically as well. So a lot of the time as well, it was where I was living. So especially the flat that I was living up until last year, as we went into the winter months, it became very damp. There was mold, it was dark, and in future I will definitely be a lot more mindful of where I pick to live, making sure that there's no damp and that it lets in a lot of light in the months of autumn and winter as well. So what I did do to help with the joint pains, what I found really helped for me is I would make up a tea with turmeric, pepper and ginger, and I would boil that up and I would drink that tea each day. And I think I started that about maybe 7 or 6 years ago, and it actually helped with the fogginess of my head as well. It helped with the headaches and the joint pain, and I actually, like I said, I have no issues with joint pain moving into the winter months now. That's absolutely fine for me, so that's really cleared itself up as well. What helped me as well was light therapy. So my mum asked me what I wanted for my birthday a few years ago, and I asked her if she could get me a light box. So what I would do is I would switch on the light box, would set my alarm, switch on the light box in the morning, about 30 minutes before I planned to get out of bed. I would have that facing me, so even though my eyes were closed, it was still hitting my eyes, and that made a huge difference as well. That definitely did help me to be able to actually get out of bed in the mornings through the winter months. So getting out in the sun as much as possible, it will help you, it will make a huge difference. But when you're feeling really drained, when you're feeling really lethargic and you just want to sleep, sometimes you're actually missing the good weather because you are sleeping. You're actually sleeping when there's nice weather. So the more you can get into the habit of getting yourself outside, into the sunshine when there is the sunshine, because in the UK a lot of times there isn't even sunshine. It'll just be days of grey, rainy, not nice days. So take advantage of those nice days. What as well helped me, as well as the tea that I mentioned, was actually getting a juicer and making shots to have each day. Every time I would start to feel, just a little bit not right, and I still do that now all the way through the year. If I just wake up and just feel not 100%, I will have shots of lemon and ginger or carrot and ginger. Now it doesn't taste particularly nice, but it does make a huge difference. And sometimes I would actually mix the lemon and ginger with honey and have that warm in the mornings as well, and that has definitely helped me. But worked. So what was actually affecting me as well as the seasons? What was the story around the seasons? What was the story around such as Christmas time? Obviously, like I mentioned before, sometimes there's like financial strains. So as a child, you're picking up on that anxiety, you're picking up on that stress, and that soon becomes your story. And that's definitely what I found for me, was understanding that was part of it. So healing that as well, and really changing my story about autumn and winter, so that I could actually come at it from a very, very different energy. And that really surfaced quite recently, just well, 3 years ago it really surfaced that there was financial issues there around this as well, and that's something that I needed to heal. So also making Christmas my own. You know, I'm somebody who really likes to make things and get creative, so me and my daughter, we will make things for other people. And we, as you know, vegans, you know, obviously Christmas dinner is very different as well, so that used to be quite stressful as well when I changed my diet, when coming into that time of year where you know, having family dinners and family meals and meeting up with other people, actually being able to say I don't want that, thank you, you know, I really need to eat something else, and changing Christmas dinner and being okay with that as well, you know, really being alright with making Christmas my own rather than going along with what everyone else was doing. That definitely helped me a lot as well. I personally do better in an environment that does have sunshine and does have a lot of light, so that is part of who I am, you know, that's part of my makeup. And it's all right for me to admit that yeah, you know, those dull, dark, grey days do affect me, and to make peace with that, be okay with that, not be judgmental about that, but understand that on those days where there isn't a lot of access to light, that I have to work a little bit harder. I have to put more into my self-care, and I have to love myself more on those days as well. Also, to really tune into the energy of abundance, because seasonal affective disorder really pulls you into lack mentality. So focus on searching out the abundance. What can you find to love about that time of year? Accept the changes. Do more of what you love and enjoy, and do what makes you happy a lot more through those months as well. Rest and sleep with no guilt about it. If you're tired and you need to rest, then rest. If you feel like you need an afternoon sleep, then have an afternoon sleep. If you get home from work and you're absolutely exhausted and just need to rest, then just rest. Don't feel guilty about it, you know, it's one of those things, so that's what you need to do. Roll with the seasons, let nature guide you. I mean, what happens in those months? You're not, the seasons are telling you, they're showing you that there's not the same energy throughout the whole of the year. You're not meant to be high energy the same as you are in the summer as you are in the winter. So it's telling you that you're actually in sync with the seasons, that you're actually in sync with the earth, that you're actually in sync with the world you live. When you are feeling that change, it's telling you that it's natural. So again, don't be pushing yourself and pushing yourself, because then you're going against nature, you're going against your natural energy and the earth's natural flow. So be okay with rolling with the seasons. What else helped me a lot was having salt baths, Himalayan pink salt in particular, and having that pink salt around the house has definitely made a huge difference to me as well. I also have pink Himalayan salt in where I sleep, and also what I had in the flat as well. I had it in my living area as well, which really helped change as well. Bringing plants into the house will also help you. Colours as well. What I actually realised I was doing was I would wear lots of bright colours in spring, summer, and when it came to going into the winter, my colour choice would change to really dull greys and blacks, and that really didn't help me at all. So what I've realised now that I'm more conscious to that is actually bringing those bright colours into the autumn and winter as well, and then you get well, you're not sort of drawn to that dull grey drab type of energy. You're seeing bright colours, so that helps your mood as well. So thinking about colour therapy, autumn and winter will really help you as well if you're somebody that is affected in the same way. Next, I have got some happy faces here. And the reason why I am super excited to share some things with you today is because I thought, because I am feeling so good right now as we are going into autumn winter, I would keep that momentum, keep that energy, and really utilize that to my advantage, but to also help others as well. So I've made some bracelets, and if you like the look of those earrings, I can make some of them for you as well. But I've got these happy face bracelets, different colours here, and I have also made another one which has got the lava beads there as well. So my whole thinking around these happy face bracelets, which I've called Trigger Yourself Happy Bracelets, is not only are they super fun to wear, they can actually be used to reprogram your brain, and then you can start to begin to see your life through the lens of an abundant mindset. So each time you see or catch sight of those happy little faces on the bracelet, it will bring you straight into the now moment, straight into the present moment, in which you can remind yourself of what you already have to be happy for, or thankful for, or grateful for. So life can have us focusing on the lack, especially if you are somebody who's affected by the seasons as well. Like we said before, seasonal affective disorder, especially as we go into autumn, winter, obviously where I live, there's such a contrast. You know, we've got less light, the days get shorter, and yeah, you're really drawn to what you're missing out on, what's been taken away from you. But by using these to help you, remember what you've already got to be thankful for, what you've still got in your life to be grateful for. There's a change then in your thinking, and the more you can do that, the more you can focus on the good things. It actually reprograms your mind, and you start building some really strong neural pathways to allow you to see life in a new way. And like I said, really start to see life through the lens of an abundant mindset. So I also thought it would be really good to share with you things that have helped me, and healing crystals has definitely been part of my healing journey. And as a highly sensitive person myself, like I've shared with you, you know, the change in the seasons has had a huge effect on my health most of my life. So I've now managed to find ways to balance out my energy and stay generally in a healthy state and balanced pretty much all year round, which is great. So if you are somebody who's drawn to use healing crystals in your journey as well, then not only are these bracelets really bright and cheery and beautiful, but they're actually going to help you to go through your own healing journey as well. So what I'm going to do is just go through the crystals that I've used, just to share with you their healing qualities and why I've chosen these ones in particular. And then I've got some exciting things to share with you after that as well.